Well, for more, I'm joined now by Ravale Mohydin. She is a researcher at the TRT World Research Center. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So the pilot is now just really hours away from returning to India. How is it, though, playing out in the public sphere, in the press, particularly in India itself?
So we'll have to look at both sides of the Indian press, the Pakistani press. Basically, misinformation has taken over information on this, on both sides. The Indian side has portrayed this as Pakistan's weakness. Imran Khan has been brought down to his knees. President Trump's, they've quoted President Trump's speech prior, to the announcement that Imran Khan made, that they are actually going to be releasing him. And they've said that it's actually pressure from President Trump, from the US, from other countries that has made Pakistan crumble. They've also quoted the Geneva Convention as the reason why Pakistan has been releasing, is considering releasing the Indian Air Force pilot. On the Pakistan side, they've talked about Prime Minister Imran Khan's magnanimity. They've talked about how this is a peace gesture. They've talked about how this is going to de-escalate the very scary tension that was building up. There are some facts here. First of all, the Geneva Convention does talk about releasing prisoners of war, but this was not even a war, declared war.
Right.
Also, they do have to do it within 7 days. This was done literally the next day. The other thing which I feel is not being talked about much is how the US has actually been very neutral, surprisingly, about this whole situation, is because I believe that the Afghan peace process has something to do with this.
Okay.
They haven't said the usual do more to the Pakistan side. Obviously, all of this misinformation is playing out onto social media and then onto Twitter.
And that's really what I wanted
onto the general public, you know?
That's what I really wanted to take a look at. I think we may actually have some shots of some of the papers and the more kind of sensational headlines you're seeing in India in particular. I mean, you hope that leaders would be above the news coverage that spins these kinds of stories. Because as you said, one of them actually said, India brings Pakistan to its knees. Well, you know, the more diplomatic way to look at this would be to say Pakistan tried to de-escalate the situation. It's the responsible thing to do. But still, there's also a role in this as well, not just for the media, but for celebrities on social media and influencers, they call them. They're involved in this too.
Andrea, first of all, I just want to talk about how Indian media how there's something called war journalism, and then there's peace journalism. War journalism is basically in trying to support war, create a situation and an environment which engenders war. Peace journalism talks about solutions, talks about let's de-escalate, let's not do this. We are literally 1.5 billion people and we're both nuclear armed. That's important to understand here. What's happened then is that these celebrities, Indian celebrities are actually picking up on this. Bollywood is big in Pakistan. So when the average Pakistani sees their favorite Bollywood star actually saying, oh, go bomb that country, you can only imagine what kind of distrust that could create between two very otherwise similar countries.
Right. Yeah, we can see some of the tweets on screen here from some of the Bollywood actors that you're talking about. But let me just ask you this quickly. I mean, as I said, you hope that politicians are above all this kind of media spin and celebrity tweets and whatnot. But would there be a risk that Pakistan could say, you know what, we've changed our minds. You want to humiliate us in your press? We don't have to give this pilot back. And if you want to escalate, let's see how far it can go.
I generally think that would be a very... I think the fact that they released the Indian Air Force pilot literally this next day, or announced it the next day, is a very strong diplomatic move on the part of Prime Minister Imran Khan. This is going to go really well with the international community. I don't think they will risk that, and I don't think that they should risk that. However, what's happening here is that politicians are not above the rhetoric that's built up. Prime Minister Modi has been and yesterday going through political rallies talking about how this has been a huge success for India, massive, they're defending the nation. Now, obviously, this is going to affect the Indian election. This is going to be a factor, and I hope that this was not the reason behind the whole episode that has taken place, which has risked so many people's lives, the peace of two very, very close countries, like literally, this, I don't know what they're doing.
It's too dangerous a game to play between two nuclear powers.
It's too dangerous a game. And I hope that the Indian election was not a factor, but there are signs that are pointing towards that the Indian elections are. Another thing which I would like to mention over here is that during these current days, like recently, there's been a challenge to Article 35A of the Indian Constitution. Article 35A is basically Kashmir's, you know, they're trying to take away the right of the Kashmiris only to be residents in Kashmir.
Right.
So
there's always more at play than we can even talk about.
Going on.
I would love to get into that, but Ravale, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, though, for
Thank you,
explaining
Andrea, for having me.